Hey everybody, this is Justin with Sillage Scents. I've got a different kind of video for you today. I've got over 20 fragrances that are under $20. So these are the kind of things I love. You know, I've got 4 kids. I work like 50 hours a week. I don't blow a lot of money on super expensive fragrances whenever I can get really good stuff for cheap. So here's a list of ultra cheapies. I'm going to try to go through them quick. I can't give notes and a big description on all of them, but let me know in the comments, what would you add to this list? And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I'm averaging about 3 videos a week plus shorts and things like that. So look forward to having you join us. All right, let's get into this. So all of these currently you can get for $20 or less somewhere, either online or from rack stores. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, first up, I'll mention one that many people have talked about. Jeremy Fragrance kind of went crazy on this one. This is Mont Blanc Individuel. So this is the 50 ml, which you can get at rack stores and online for right at $20, about $19.99. The 50 ml. This is basically raspberry and clean laundry. In the opening, you're going to get a bunch of raspberry, and then very quickly it transitions into something that smells like dryer sheets. It's quite fresh. It's pretty versatile. You can pretty much wear it whenever. You're going to smell a little fruity and like clean laundry. Gotta love that. This next one, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it's still 20 bucks. Right now on Joma Shop, you can get this for 20 bucks. This is Jimmy Choo Man Ice. And so this is, some people say ice lemonade in a bottle. I would say yes, but add a little orange and some vetiver. To me, the vetiver really stands out in this one, but you still do get that ice lemonade feel. This is going to put you in the mind of, I believe it's Chanel, Allure, Homme, Sport Cologne, maybe. I'll have to look that up, but one of the Chanels smells a whole lot like this one. Trying to rush through this quickly and didn't look that up beforehand, but it is a clone of one of the Chanels, called a clone, but it's kind of its own thing, especially because of that vetiver. I believe it's the Chanel cologne that it smells a lot like. All right, next up, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. This is LATTAFA's MAISON ALHAMBRA line. This is just amber and leather. And it is for $15, which is what you can usually get it for on FragranceNet. It's a pretty daggum good clone of ombre leather. It's not quite as well blended. It's a little more synthetic, but it's probably still 90% ombre leather. It's gotten a lot of great hype online. A huge 100 ml bottle for $15 or less if you can find it on discounters. That's a steal. This next one, this is a Calvin Klein, and I think it's an amazing tobacco fragrance. I wish it lasted longer. My bottle is about a 3 to 4 hour performer. Some people say they get 8 or 10 hours out of it, so it might be a body chemistry thing. But this is an awesome tobacco fragrance. It's got a real interesting, bright, kind of fruity opening. Some people say it smells like an energy drink, and I get that. I can see why, and maybe the word shock there is modeled after like a monster drink. But then you go into cardamom and tobacco. You retain some of that fruitiness, some of that freshness, but really at the heart it's a tobacco scent, and there is a pronounced cardamom note. Some people say it reminds them of La Nuit de l'Homme. It does not me, but the cardamom is used in a similar way. All right, next up, this one, again, you can still get, because I just looked it up on several websites online. Just Google it. You can still get Insurrection 2 Wild for 19 something. I think whenever I got mine on Amazon, it was $20. This is a really good clone of Mugler Pure Havane. So a smoky tobacco, sort of sweet, spicy, smoky tobacco scent. It's a great fragrance, sort of a honeyed tobacco. I'll add that as well. It's sort of, some people have said cherry tobacco, kind of, maybe I can see that, but just a sweet tobacco spiced scent. It's a great one, and it's a really good performer as well. Probably like a 10-hour fragrance on me. Next up, this is one from the Guess line, and you could put a whole bunch of the Guess Seductive Homme fragrances in here. You can go to just about any rack store, you know, Burlington, TJ Maxx, Ross, and pick them up. This is Seductive Homme Blue, which is going to remind you quite a lot of La Nuit de l'Homme. And so it is perhaps a little bit, it's got a little bit of a freshness or a powderiness that's increased a little beyond La Nuit de l'Homme, but the cardamom is used in a very similar way. It's kind of a little bit of a fresher version of La Nuit de l'Homme. Guess Seductive Homme Blue, 20 bucks at the rack stores. That's where I got mine. That might only be for the 50 ml because mine's a 50 ml. All right, next, let's go with this one. This one has been called a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electric. I picked up my bottle. I thought, I don't know what people are talking about. It didn't remind me at all of any La Nuit de l'Homme. But now that it has sat on the shelf for about 6 months, one of my sons wears this pretty regular. I tried it again the other day. There was something funky in the opening of this fragrance. It was very off-putting. That is gone, and now it actually is very similar to La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electric. This is LATTAFA's EJAZZI Silver. EJAZZI Silver. And again, you can get this online right now for between $17 and $21, something like that, but it's still available for less than $20. I just checked it. And so La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electric, a great flanker that was canceled after less than a year. This one's going to get you fairly close. You know, maybe it's 85, 90%, something like that. But now that it's sat for a while, it's funny how fragrances do that. I understand where people are coming from, what they're talking about. Next up, this is one from BELCAM, which is a line that sells on Amazon that does some pretty good clones. I'm going to mention another one in a minute. This is a clone of Acqua di Gio Profumo, and it is a spot-on clone to me. I don't own Profumo, but I've tried it out in stores. I'm aware of how it smells. Of course, it's kind of ubiquitous at this point. This is called G.O. Black by BELCAM Fragrances. But here's the kicker. This is like a 3-hour fragrance on me. I've seen others online say that it performs pretty well for them, 6-7 hours. But for me, it does not last long. Now, I haven't tried it in 6 months. I might try wearing it again and see if that's better. But it's a good clone of Profumo scent profile-wise. And if you're just going out for an evening, you need 3 hours of performance, $10 on Amazon. Last time I checked. Maybe it's up to 11 or 12 now. But this is G.O. Black. All right, we'll go ahead and hit up the other BELCAM. This is a clone of Spice Bomb, the original Spice Bomb, and a really good one. This is a $10 clone of Spice Bomb called Volatile. And this one is very similar to Spice Bomb. The difference being there is a either oud or cedar note that I pick up in a number of fragrances that reminds me of pencil shavings. And this fragrance has that ramped up over the Spice Bomb. Spice Bomb's got a touch of it. This one, for the first 30 minutes, you're going to get quite a bit of this pencil shaving vibe. But if you don't like that, I'm not a huge fan of that note, but wait about 30 minutes, and this thing's going to be about 95% Spice Bomb. And it's a pretty good performer. You know, it's maybe 7-hour fragrance, something like that. Volatile, $10 Spice Bomb clone. All right, let's go with another Spice Bomb clone. This is one you can get at rack stores everywhere, TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls, all of them, and Burlington as well. But this is like a more like spring-summer kind of clone of Spice Bomb because the tobacco note and some of those heavier notes are removed and the fresh spiciness and citrus is kept. This is Beverly Hills Polo Club Blaze. It's still pretty close to Spice Bomb, maybe like 85%-ish. It immediately reminds you of Spice Bomb as soon as you spray it on, but some of those heavier, darker winter notes are removed. And so I actually like Spice Bomb for warm weather, so I'll do like 2-3 sprays of Spice Bomb, 2-3 sprays of this, and I'm good to go for warm weather. So Polo Club Blaze, that's a great one. I don't know how many of these there are, but I know there's more than 20, maybe 22, 23. This is another rack store find, and I've seen it all over the place, even up until currently, but it's been there for a long time. This one's gotten a lot of love. Some people compare it to Creed Virgin Island Water. It's not a clone at all. It's not even all that similar, but it's definitely the same type of fragrance. It's a tropical beachy fragrance. This is Tommy Bahama's St. Bart's, $19.99 at all the rack stores for 100 ml. It's not a great performer. It's like a 5-6 hour fragrance, but it smells good. And it's got a woodsy, musky dry down that lasts for about 2/3 of that fragrance. But in the opening, you're going to get like a margarita, bright, boozy, sort of citrusy margarita smell, lime and coconut and that kind of thing. So St. Bart's by Tommy Bahama, that's a good one. Next up, we're going to go with a clone I've talked about a lot. This is a clone of Noir Extreme by Tom Ford, and this is a $20 Just Jack fragrance. I got it on FragranceBuy.ca, but I've seen it on others. This is Just Jack Noir Endurance. I mean, look how much I've used of this, and I just got this in November or something. It's a fantastic clone. It smells so similar to Noir Extreme. It's a good performer as well. I mean, I don't own Noir Extreme, but I've sprayed it on a bunch of times in the department stores. This thing lasts, I don't know, 8-10 hours, something like that, and it's so close. Gourmand, spicy, powdery, slightly floral, beautiful cold weather scent. A little on the more mature side. I don't know if the 18 to 20-year-old would love it, but certainly, 25 plus, I think you'd really dig either Noir Extreme or Noir Endurance. All right, I'm going to go with two sort of twin ultra cheapies. This first one, these are made by Ard Al Zafran. This is Midnight Oud, and this is a clone of Amouage Interlude, the Blue Beast. So this is, a smoky oregano. It's like incense, oregano, a Papanax. It's got some heavy resins and a very smoky incense with a very pronounced herbal quality with that oregano. It does have some sweeter notes in the base, maybe either amber or vanilla, but you don't get a lot of sweetness. You do get some, though. You definitely do get some sweetness. It's a weird one if you've never smelled it, but if you like that kind of a very unique profile, I don't think I've ever smelled the original, but I've been told, and like Ash on Ginsent says, this is a very close clone, and you can pick this up on Amazon for $10 for the 50 ml. Ard Al Zafran Midnight Oud, crazy deal. And there's another 50 ml for $10 on Amazon. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Black Orchid, and it's a very close clone, although of course these are going to be more synthetic than a Tom Ford. But this is Oud 24 Hours. 50 ml of a Black Orchid clone that is pretty daggum close to the original. And again, it's a good performer. 7-8 hour fragrance, chocolatey, floral, marketed towards women, but definitely as many men wear it as women do. $10 Black Orchid clone right there. Oud 24 Hours by Ard Al Zafran. Next up, this is a great one. I love the original Amen, and this is a clone of the original Amen Angel Men by Thierry Mugler, and this is Cuba Prestige Classic. And I've used quite a bit of that fragrance just in the past 6 months or so. It's probably a 90% clone. There is something about Angel Men. There's a magic to that fragrance that this one doesn't fully capture. There's some of the notes in the original Amen. I think it's one of the best fragrances ever, probably. I like it that much. And this one does a great job of mimicking it, but it's more synthetic, and you are going to pick that up. But whenever I took the lid off just then, you smell Amen. I mean, it smells so similar to Amen. That sort of, milk and honey, licorice, you know, patchouli, mint, all of those notes dancing together. That one has it. It's a great fragrance. Let's go with a couple of Perry Ellis fragrances. And I think both of these for 15 bucks. This one is Perry Ellis M. And this is a very interesting, very spicy fragrance. It's a super spicy, sweet fragrance. I've heard some say that it was supposed to be a clone of the original Chanel Allure Homme. But I don't know if I've ever smelled the original. But it's a very spicy. I've done some videos on this. It's like a syrupy sweet, super spicy fragrance. And if you like that kind of thing, then you'd really dig this one. And it is powerful. It's not necessarily super long lasting. It's maybe a 7-8 hour fragrance, but it's very powerful, projecting, sillage, all that. This next one is a clone of the original Acqua di Gio, but it's modernized a little bit. This is just Perry Ellis 360 Red. Another, I got the 50 ml for $15, maybe even, yeah, $15 in a rack store. You can get it for a little less if you find it on a discounter. So Perry Ellis 360 Red is basically the original Acqua di Gio with a little modification. It's got a little cinnamon note. It's got just a slight touch of sweetness, but it's still like 90% Acqua di Gio. I actually like this better than Acqua di Gio. I'm not a huge fan of the original Acqua di Gio, but I like the differences of that one. This is another Guess fragrance. This one is a clone. It's a clone-ish of Versace Eros, maybe, you know, 85 to 90% similar of Versace Eros. This is Guess 1981 Los Angeles, and you can get this one on Amazon for 20 bucks. All the rack stores, you can get it a lot of places in that price range. But this is a slightly more kind of fall geared Eros. It's a little more ambery. The mint is tamped down just a little bit, but it's still very similar to Versace Eros. And it's a good one. I enjoy wearing this fragrance. The next one, I just looked online and I saw several websites that have this for $17, $18, $19. This is a great clone of Lacoste L1212 White or Blanc. This is ARMAF Hunter, the original, the EDT, so not the Hunter Intense, which is a clone of Sauvage mixed with Invictus. This one is just a very close, probably 90% clone of L1212 Blanc, and it's a great one, a great floral, woodsy, spiced, warm weather fragrance, perfect for spring, great for summer. The next one, this is most people consider it to be a clone of Spice Bomb Extreme, which clones of that are like, you know, rare dinosaurs. But this one is probably only like 80%. It's very synthetic smelling, but you immediately know what they're going for. If you don't own Spice Bomb Extreme and you only smelled Spice Bomb out in a store and you sprayed this on, you'd think, man, this is so close to Spice Bomb Extreme, but side by side, there's a lot of differences. Some of the heavier notes, again, are removed. The tobacco is removed, so it's a little more fresh, maybe even a little more sweet. This is CREMO, Spice, and Black Vanilla. So probably 80% close-ish to Spice Bomb Extreme. It's a pretty daggum good pickup for, again, 20 bucks. You can find it in Target. You can find it on Amazon. $19.99, 20 bucks right in there. The next one I'll go with, I'll mention two right here. This one is Cuba Royal Red. And the Cuba fragrances are usually this size, $7 on discounters or out at the rack stores. This one is very, very similar to 1 Million, although this one came first, so many people think that 1 Million ripped this one off. And then there's also one that is a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier Lamel, and this is Cuba Gold. It's a little fresher, a little less sweet version of the original Lamel. Both of these are going to be more synthetic than the fragrance they're similar to, obviously, because they're so cheap. But for $7, what I do is I throw these in my briefcase and I just kind of carry them around. You can't beat it for $7. They're pretty close to what they're mimicking. And then the final one, this is one that, you know, whenever it came out was kind of a top tier fragrance. Now you can get it dirt cheap online, eBay, probably not Amazon, but rack stores. This is Obsession by Calvin Klein. Still a great smelling fragrance. It's, you know, sweet, spicy. There's a brightness to it as well. It's definitely a cool weather fragrance, but you know, at one point, this was it was just everywhere. Everybody was wearing this. Now, no one is wearing it, and it's still just a great smelling fragrance. It's, you know, very synthetic, but as far as the way it smells, it's excellent. I mean, I still really enjoy it, and I even remember whenever people were wearing this everywhere back in the 90s. So Calvin Klein Obsession, another one that if you haven't tried in years, you might want to check it out, and you can get it super cheap. All right, so I think that was like 23 fragrances for under $20. Let me know in the comments, what would you add to the list? And please subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.